Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Stockyards here in Fort Worth, Texas, for a West Division matchup between the Washington Trident and the Fort Worth Toros. My name is Brandon Walters. I've just caught the fastest jet flight known to man from Bossier City over here to Fort Worth, and I have the pleasure of being greeted by Stephen Mullinax, sharing a booth. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Hey, I'm doing great. Glad to bring you and welcome you in here into Texas. Someplace that you do know quite well, but glad that you were able to make it in on your flight, and we're here to enjoy some Sunday night football.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be a good game here. We've got two teams that have kind of struggled to open up the season, honestly. Washington's sitting at 1-3. They're on a 3-game losing skid right now. Meanwhile, Fort Worth just had their big get-right game, winning 62-9 over the Oklahoma City Renegades. Any early predictions for the match, Stephen?
Yeah, I do. I think Fort Worth, I'm really interested to see if they're going to continue that massive positive momentum they had, despite having a bye week since having played Oklahoma City. But look, they did it right here in their house, and now you can feel that crowd. They're just ready for more of the same. I'm not sure Washington's the same kind of opponent that Oklahoma City is, but we'll find out.
Washington will get the ball first. We are underway here in Texas. That one's going to be returned at about the 5-yard line. Shane Kaufman putting on the moves, bringing it out to the 31-yard line. That will set up this offense, helmed by quarterback Tommy Utah. Stephen, Tommy had a great season last season. He hasn't started as hot here in season 25.
No, you're right. Averaging just 58%, completing 58% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And here's the big number to watch, 8 sacks. So this offensive line needs to do a better job of protecting their quarterback, giving him time to make these passes, allowing these receivers to complete their routes.
Showing aggression here out the gate, 5 wide, no one in the backfield. Fort Worth stacking corners. They'll bring the blitz on the left side. Utah with time over the middle, wide open catch. That's Christopher Dean. An injury on the first play of the game, Stephen. It's Ben Charbs, and that is a huge loss to this defense.
Yeah, Charbs is going to be one of my key players in this game. 32 tackles this season. That's a team. He leads a team in that number. Sack, 4 tackles for loss, interception. You got to hope, if you're a Toros fan, that that's just something that's real minimal and minor, and he can get back to the field quickly.
Yeah, the huge pickup from the Los Angeles Lycans, excuse me. You know, a 10-season vet and an all-star last season. It's a big blow to lose him in your defensive backfield, as it'll set up a 2nd and 1 for the Trident. They'll move a tight end in motion to the left side as Zami Mihata. High formation. Handoff right side. Dean gets the call again and picks up the first down.
Yeah, you got to like that. Going out to the outside there with Dean, finding a pretty open space right there. Just gets enough for the first down, moving the chains early. That's always a positive sign when you're on the road.
Offset back right side here. Fort Worth bringing one of the linebackers to the line. Potential pressure showing here. Utah will throw again on the first down. All kinds of time in the bucket and finds his receiver there. Great catch by Johan Sutherland. First down for the Trident.
Well, let's give this offensive line a lot of credit, right? We talked about how many sacks they've allowed and how Utah has struggled with some interceptions. Here, the offensive line does a wonderful job of just giving Tommy Utah a ton of time to find his wide open target on that bit of a drag route that took time to develop, and just perfect job there by the offensive line.
Fort Worth only 4 sacks so far in the season. Need to see that number come up if they want to be successful here tonight. Handoff to Dean again. Brought down right at the line of scrimmage. They won't give him any forward progress. Good tackle by Zion Waddles. We'll walk you through that Washington Trident offense real quick. Quarterback Tommy Utah. Halfbacks Dwayne Salmons and Christopher Dean. Fullback Julian Gusters. Wide receivers King Alexander, Johan Sutherland, Terrell Cooper, Shane Kaufman, and Phil Koss. The tight end, Zami Mihata, and a 5-man offensive line will get you after the next play there. Salmon shaking a tackle, takes a hit, but gets 8 yards on the 2nd down run.
Yeah, running out of the bunch formation one more time. The last time they did it with Dean to the opposite side of the bunch. This time they go more down the A gap, down the middle of the line, and find great success there.
An offensive line looking good so far tonight, trying to have that get-right game. Tackles Dakota Butts and Scott Pancake. The guards Bill and Phil McMillan, and the center Charles Michael for the Washington Trident. That is their offensive lineup. A 5 wide receiver room. That is not something you see very often in the Simulation Football League, as they'll hand it off up the middle. Fullback run on the 3rd and short, and Julian Gusters makes it look easy, Stephen.
Yeah, that was awesome. Darts through the crease right there to get the first down easily untouched for about 7 or 8 yards. I mean, look, when you're down that close to the first down marker there, you want to see a quarterback sneak, maybe a fullback dive. We see a lot of that in this league. That just executed to perfection.
First down already past the 30-yard line here for Washington. A great first drive to open up this game. We see Dean again on the draw, 3 yards. Not seen too much of Dwayne Salmons yet so far, Stephen. Only the 1 carry for him.
Yeah, and so I think that's a change in philosophy here. They're just maybe they're going with who they think is maybe the hot hand. They've definitely struggled with Simon so far this season. Only 185 yards through 4 games. So maybe a little switch. They figured would give him a little juice.
And off again. There's Salmons that time picking up another good chunk of about 6 or 7. Set up another short 3rd and 2 here, and it looks like they are trying to use him as the second blow in that 1-2 punch coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, they are. Now they've given themselves a great opportunity here. 3rd and 2, a lot of options to go. You would think maybe run here, but let's see what happens.
They will run. Dean on the right side, all kinds of daylight. Picks up an easy first down again here. Now easily within the red zone, just shy of the 10-yard line, I believe. And I mean, Stephen, this drive so far has been executed to perfection for Washington.
Yeah, and I think it's been the very definition of the run helps to set up the pass. When you're able to run in multiple different ways, it just does so much for the confidence of your team, the chain moving, the usage of the clock, a lot of positives.
Draw again there on the first down, and that's a good pickup of 4 for Salmons. We'll walk you through that Fort Worth Toros defense. Jerry D. Gond, Jeff Gagne, Luther Gond, and Hendrick Callahan are your defensive linemen. Linebackers, Jason Grackleflint and Jeff Spicoli. Corners, Tobias Gordon, Adam Leach, and Aiden Davis. And the safeties, Ben Stone, Zion Waddles, Ben Charbs, and Delaney Nash. Charbs out with an injury on the first play of the game if you're just joining us. Dean taking the pitch right side. Can't shake the secondary tackle there. And there is Ben Charbs. He's back on the field from injury.
And that's good news for the Toros fans. And look, it's harder to run the ball as you get closer to the end zone with this defense collapsing. A lot less field. It's harder to do everything as you get down into the red zone. But this is where it counts the most.
3rd and 6. Bunch formation left close to the line for Utah. We're showing 4. They'll bring 5. Oh, just broken up in the left side of the end zone there. King Alexander had a chance at it, but it's going to be going to the turf. And a 4th down here. Look for Washington to kick a field goal and take the first lead of the game.
I still love the play call there by Washington. Roll the quarterback out. Give him time to let his targets get wide open. I think that was actually a good opportunity there by the receiver to bring the ball in. He had shielded out the defender. Just couldn't get his hand on the ball. Good job by the Toros defense to hold on.
Good execution in the end for the Toros defense to stop Washington from putting 7 on the board. They will put the field goal through. James Troll maybe had his heart in his throat a little bit there as that one bent just at the last second. But it's a 3-point lead for Washington over Fort Worth. A nice first drive to the game, Stephen.
Yeah, and that's great. That's good. That's a good sign, right? If you're coming into Toro's house where they put the smack down on the team before you by the tune of 62. Come in, get points. You get the first punch in. Now let's see how Fort Worth's offense retaliates.
Kickoff recovered right on the goal line. They'll bring it out. That's the speedster, Henry McGee, bringing it out to about the 28-yard line before he is brought down. That will bring out this Toros offense helmed by Eric Price, who has had a good start to the season so far. You know, ball security really, I think, has been the focus of this Toros offense and coaching staff here. Only 2 interceptions so far in the season for Eric Price.
Yeah, 2 interceptions as opposed to 5 touchdowns, 61% completion percentage, only sacked 2 times. But also keep in mind, this Fort Worth team, because of bye week, they've only played 3 games so far this season. So their stats are reflecting that.
2 tight ends left side here on the first down for the Toros. They'll run it up the middle. Their guard was trying to pull and create some kind of opening there for J.Z. Bacon, but nothing really doing there. And a nice tackle by Kappa Jones, the free safety.
Yeah, just a nice job by Kappa Jones, able to use some of those skills he used to utilize as a linebacker, using them now as a safety and finding success doing so.
Had the pleasure of playing alongside him in Queen City. Can say he hits like the best of them, as there's a nice run for the fullback. Aaron Alexander will pick up 6 and set up a very manageable 3rd and 4 here for Fort Worth.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Fort Worth comes into this game with the fourth best rushing attack. They like to lean on their pair of rushers in Bacon and Zero. Might be a pass here, though.
It will be a pass. Price stepping back, had a little pressure over the middle, but it's caught. Great throw there to Nick Fritchie, one of the new additions to this offense for the Toros, making a big impact early.
Yeah, I mean, their number one target through the passing game is clearly Stephen Hacker, as he leads them by miles when it comes to receptions here. So the thought of trying to get others involved, the defense is going to be keen on a guy like Hacker. That's going to give one-on-ones to a lot of the other wide receivers that maybe the quarterback has now decided to take advantage of.
Price dropping quick there, intercepted immediately. It was covered under beautifully there, brought down at around the 32-yard line for the Toros. A great job there by number 24. That is Albert Begin, the strong safety there with an early interception.
I mean, Begin just anticipate where the ball is going to go, undercuts the route there. The ball was supposed to go to Henry McGee on an out route, but look, the veteran Begin just timed that perfectly. I mean, that's a ball that probably should never have been thrown, but if you're a Washington fan, you're certainly glad that it was.
It feels like one that Albert Begin read from essentially the snap there. He was perfectly in position on the outbreak there. Just a quick shout out, Nick Fritchie. That's his first ever career catch in the SFL. Congratulations for a good catch. As Dean will pick up 9.
And let's go back. We were talking about Price and that on that interception. Like, as you mentioned before, only 2 interceptions so far this season. To get intercepted this early in this game by Washington and put it in their territory here, right on the edge of really right on the edge of the red zone here. Boy, that's tough early on. He's going to have to overcome that early.
We'll have to see a rebound from the Toros. Shot caller there as the handoff to Gusters gets stuffed on the right side there. He'll pick up about half a yard, but it will be short of the first down marker. Set up a short 3rd and 1. Steven, it really feels like this running game so far has been providing almost all the legwork here for Washington's offense so far. They've been able to grind out these short down situations.
Yeah, and that investment, I really do think it will start to pay off as the defense gets more and more tired throughout the game.
Offset by Jack's form here. They'll run the quarterback sneak, and Tommy Utah picks it up easy as you please. You called it out earlier, Steven, that they might have that trick up their sleeve. We've seen it in the league more and more in recent weeks. Teams like Detroit, or in the last game, Mexico City was making good use of it with Jordan Sipe.
I mean, you're so close to it, right on the line of scrimmage there. Just to sneak it over makes so much sense.
Dean handoff again, shakes one but can't shake the second. Nice tackle in the backfield. Tobias Gordon, number 20, the man to watch on this defense, Steven. He leads the entire league right now in interceptions with 4, and he's also got 2 pick sixes. That will also put him first.
Yeah, and that's those 2 pick sixes coming in this last game against Oklahoma City. One of the most amazing interceptions I've ever seen.
Handoff there for Salmons, takes a big hit. Number 41 laying the wood. That is Delaney Nash, the strong safety, with a big hit on Dwayne Salmons.
Yeah, that's the former MVP out there, man. You got to be real careful. And look, Fort Worth seems to have dialed up this rushing defense. They're not giving up the lanes they gave up in that first series.
Some adjustments already being made from this Toros coaching room here, as they'll send a man in motion. That's Cost to the right side. Looks like zone defense will be the play here for the Toros. Utah will drop back. Time to throw, looking right side, deep in the end zone. Charbs had his hands on it, and it falls to the turf. No interception there, but again, Fort Worth holds strong in the red zone there and will force this Trident offense to take the 3 points.
Yeah, what a difference one player possibly could make, right? Charbs is the guy that was injured there earlier in this game, comes back to make a key play to stop Washington from reaching into the clouds and bringing Brown the touchdown. Zeus is disappointed.
I think he's probably got to be. I mean, it was very close there. Phil Koss had a chance in the back of the end zone, but great coverage from Ben Charbs will set up James Troll for a 35-yard field goal. That one again curving right to left and is in through the uprights. Good. And that 7-play drive will lead to Washington taking a 6-0 lead here. It's been a scrappy game so far, Steven. It feels like both these teams are still trying to feel each other out a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you're Fort Worth, you have to be pleased. You've been put in this position and came away with just 6 points. You're still a one-score game. Still can take the lead with a touchdown. If you're Washington, I'm a little trepidatious in the sense that we didn't really maximize the opportunities that were given to us, and that might bite us in the end if we're not careful.
It's also been a struggle for Washington throughout the season so far, Stephen. They've only scored, the highest number they've scored so far in the season is 17, and their loss last week against Sin City, they only scored 8 points. So, I mean, it feels like scoring is a trouble for this Washington team so far this season.
You're not wrong about that, and that's troubling for a lot of people to figure out because they were 10-2 last season and did so well, and it's just kind of a head-scratcher about why they're not performing as well.
Oh, Price just gets it out first down there. That was a bit of a dangerous one. Hunter Jacobs with the catch there. So everyone other than Stephen Hacker so far are starting to get involved in this passing game. Not what we've seen so far throughout the season, Stephen.
No, and it's a nice little wrinkle too. You want to try to get everybody involved and everybody some looks, and they've really focused on doing so with some guys that maybe haven't been, their numbers not called a lot, which is good for them. Jacobs'
7th catch of his short career so far. Good pick up there from Jet Zero, the stalwart longtime halfback in the league there, showing off a bit of the power in this backfield. Jet Zero and Jay-Z Bacon, they've got the power in those legs.
They absolutely do. And then don't let their size fool you. They're speedy too. They can run it as fast with the best of them there. They're good.
Some tight ends on the line. They'll throw first down. Price looking over the middle. Oh, in the hands of his tight end, Robert Garrett Jr., but dropped.
Yeah, the Cowboy met some competition there in the middle of the field, and just a nice job by Washington's secondary to knock that ball out with some devastating hit there.
Fort Worth's offense tonight helmed by quarterback Eric Price, halfbacks Jet Zero and Jay-Z Bacon, the fullback Aaron Alexander, wide receivers Henry McGee, Hunter Jacobs, Nick Fritchie, and Stephen Hacker, as that pass falls incomplete to the turf, 3rd and 10. The tight end Robert Garrett Jr. and 3 offensive linemen, Duke LaRue, Emilio Panda are your tackles, and the guard is Jaleel LaRue. 3rd and 10 here. Quads look from the Toros. Washington sitting off in the covers. Look at the outside corners. They're way cushioned as they'll send a man in motion. That's Fritchie. Price takes the dump off over the middle. Jacobs breaks one tackle but can't break the second one. And it'll be a 4th down for this Fort Worth team. A good tackle by Ryan Cook, but so far it feels like the offense for Fort Worth struggling to put it all together, Stephen.
Yeah, and that was just a check down. I mean, on 3rd and 10, I never like throwing in front of the sticks if at all possible. They ask your receiver to have to gain 7 or 8 yards on their own through a sea of defensive players. It's just a tough ask.
At the same time, though, you don't want to have a second interception this early in the game here, so but it might be best not to force it, as that punt will be returned up to the 36-yard line. If you're new to the Simulation Football League, welcome. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sideline now and start your player today by joining our Discord server at simfl.net. Click the Join the Community button and begin your career, or just meet the stars of the SFL on and off the field. It's never too late to get involved. First down, Christopher Dean will pick up 2 on a grinding run there.
Yeah, and I know as an offensive coordinator, it's just frustrated to see, your running back running through the back of one of your offensive linemen and kind of get stuck, or maybe a fullback. But in a lot of situations there, let's not forget the defensive line is getting a lot of push to make that happen.
Draw play there. Salmon's buried immediately. A good hit there by Jerry D. Gond, the big offensive lineman. That'll be the final play of the first quarter. It's been a tight one here, so Washington leads it 6-0. We'll be right back with you. Welcome back to the Stockyards. Brandon Walters here in the booth alongside Stephen Mullinax. I got the coach next to me, giving me the best analysis in the league. Thank you to Mike Daggs for stepping in on short notice to provide stats in the stats truck for us, and Commissioner Cameron Irvine pushing the buttons and producing for us as always, as Utah will roll out here, looking left side there into all kinds of traffic. That one goes to the turf, and I mean, you might have to say he's a little lucky not to have it intercepted, Stephen.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, flooding one side of the field with receivers is a great idea. It also floods that side of the field with a bunch of defenders. So, it's a bit of a give and take there. And now punting here and giving Toros another opportunity to respond.
Ultrecht Rugen with the punt here. Long hanger will be returned by McGee, but only up to the 26-yard line. And that will bring out this Toros offense, which has struggled so far tonight. Price already with an interception, only 3 of 6 for 29 yards passing so far tonight for him. And you're going to have to see that improve if you want to see Fort Worth mount a comeback in this game. At the same time, though, still only down 6, Stephen.
Yeah, still only down 6, and you're at home, and you're coming off, like you mentioned, a get-right game. They really feel like everything clicked for them. Might be the greatest game I've ever seen them play in a whole. They just had it in all 3 phases of the game. Here, they're just struggling to get started, but once they do, let's see what happens.
Oh, first down carry goes nowhere for Bacon. He's buried in the backfield there. Number 44, that's Nicholas Warner. Second in the league right now, Stephen, in terms of tackles for him.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and look, I think he's one of the best linebackers in the league. 55 tackles, leads his team. A sack, 9 tackles for loss.
Oh, man, oof. Not to interrupt you, but I think he wanted to add another stat onto his sheet there. Big pass breakup.
His ears were burning. We were talking about him. He makes a huge play. And look, on Fort Worth's offense, I want to go back. One of the key players, and that ball was for Henry McGee. Henry McGee went off a bit in the last game, and so I do think one of the keys, not only getting Hacker more involved, but let's get the ball to McGee some more.
Neither of those two have had any catches so far tonight, so you're going to have to see some more involvement from them. Intercepted! What a play there! Oh, man, Ryan Cook, the corner. We're going to have some laundry on the field. I think that was a face mask on Cook as he was getting up off the turf there.
Wow.
Yes, it will be. Ball spotted at the 19-yard line for Washington. Amazing athletic ability there from Ryan Cook.
Yeah, incredible. And look, I think that the quarterback felt pressured, right? As he was rolling out, he felt pressure to throw the ball just a little early, threw it behind his receiver, right into the defender's hand, but still a great athletic play to come down with the interception.
Price, only 2 interceptions through 3 games so far, has 2 tonight. So he's doubled his tally for the season so far. First down, handoff to Dean, will pick up 2. And that's not what you want to see if you're a Fort Worth fan. The question remains, though, can Washington actually get the ball into the end zone on offense?
Yeah, that's been one of the carrying storylines throughout the season. They get these kind of opportunities. The defense gives them these kind of opportunities. Even special teams has been giving them great opportunities. They're just not taking full advantage of it, coming away with field goals instead of touchdowns.
Draw play there. Salmons can't make it work. He got stuck on the offensive, on the center there, I believe, and just can't really make it happen. And I mean, yeah, to your point, Stephen, talking about not being able to score touchdowns, we're now in quarter 6 of Trident football where they have not scored a touchdown, because last week against Sin City, they had 2 field goals and a safety. Utah rolling out of the pocket there, felt the pressure, all kinds of room. He's going from the end zone, slides just short there, but a great run from the quarterback will put it right at about the 1-yard line.
Brendan, you could feel that little bit of hesitation there from the quarterback as he runs out of the pocket. That should I slide or should I just put my nose down and get in the end zone? He was so close. I think he makes the right choice. And we've seen Washington do really well, although it's been clamped down on here in the last couple of series. But they can run. They've run the football pretty good so far, at least early in that first series they did.
It's a harsh spot there, I think, on the slide. Dean hurdling all kinds of people there. Everyone went to the turf. Looked like a bomb drill there. Everyone got down on the floor, and Dean, unfortunately, unable to make it work there. But 2nd and goal now from the 1.5-yard line. And yeah, to your point, Stephen, I think this team is built to power a run in theory. So you should be relatively confident of being able to punch it in from this kind of distance. They'll give it to Gusters. He's got it. Touchdown. Trident. And there, that snaps that 6-quarter streak of no touchdowns for this Washington offense. Touchdown for the fullback, and it's going to be a 13-0 game pending the extra point.
Well, if they win this one, Washington's defense is going to be owed a dinner from the offense, because they really helped them big time with that awesome interception and put them in position here to score. And good on the offense, able to take full advantage of it, give them a very nice lead on the road.
I mean, if they keep it up the way they have been, Stephen, I think they're going to owe them a dinner, some cars, a nice house maybe. Who knows? I mean, it's been lights out so far from Washington on the road as well. It's been a very impressive performance, especially given last season these teams met here in the regular season in week 11 in the stockyards, and Fort Worth won 14-12. So Washington has already scored more points today in, a quarter and like about a half than they did in that entire last game last season.
Well, yeah, and look, these two teams are I think we all know they're just not quite the same teams they were last season. And I think we're all just kind of waiting for kind of the coin to flip to the other side and these two teams to start regaining the status of what they were last season. And it's one of the things is they're going to have to do that against each other in this game as part of that growing process to get back to where they were.
First down from the 25-yard line. They'll hand it off. Bacon shaken and able to get about 4 yards. That Washington Trident defense tonight, defensive ends Rodney Panani and King McNeely, tackles Doug Howard and Tina Begin, linebackers Nicholas Warner, Nathaniel Diggs, and TJ Harper, corners Mark Kaufman, Ryan Cook, John DeSantis, and Maxwell Quimby, and the safeties Kappa Jones and Albert Begin. They've been good so far tonight. If they can keep it up, they might be looking at a shutout potentially, as Zero will pick up about 5, and then it'll shut up a short 3rd down and 1.
And we have to mention this, Washington's defense is doing this despite having Willie Bands, their free safety, inactive for this game. So they're doing it a little shorthanded, but clearly that hasn't seemed to hurt them yet in this game.
That's the advantage of having a bit of depth in that safety position there. Someone like Kappa Jones can step right up into the starting lineup here and make the big impact plays that he has been making so far tonight. They'll hand it off right up the middle. Easy kinds of room for Bacon. First down for the Toros.
As you mentioned before, Fort Worth doesn't seem pressure to want to throw the ball too much. They're still within their game plan. They've found success here in this series running the ball down the middle of the line, and it's getting them near midfield right now. So, just doing a good job. They tried early in this game to get maybe others involved that aren't typically involved. Now they're running the ball successfully. It's starting to click for them.
Interesting alignment here from the linebackers. Warner's way out on the outside there. They'll run it to his side, and Zero takes a shot from Nathaniel Diggs after picking up 2. And this defense has been playing really well so far in the pass game. In the run game, it feels like, it's a bit hit or miss. They're either taking these running backs down for a short gain or they're letting them get those 6 to 7 yard carries.
And I think they have one of the best linebacker cores across from them there. I think it speaks a lot to these talented running backs too. But I think Washington's, I put their linebacker core up against anybody in the league. Warner, Diggs, and Harper, it's hard to find a better trio than those guys. And so I think a lot of it is, if teams find success, it's because they push the offensive line and some of these talented runners here in the SFL.
It's definitely one of the points of success, points of strength for this Washington team here. Price will throw it on the 3rd down. It's tipped and incomplete. A good play there on the defensive side of things. That's Kappa Jones, the free safety, again showing up to make a big play.
Yeah, we've talked about Kappa earlier in this game, but showing up big time with a great pass defend. If the ball was just a little bit higher, I think that gets through. But Kappa Jones with a nice long arm extension. Still looks like a linebacker to me, Brendan, but plays like a safety.
Just a little. Punted away by Sophia Peaches. It's received at about the 20-yard line, and Koss will bring it up to the 21. And, as we've got an injury here on the field, we'll have to see who that is. That's number 98 for Washington. We'll try and get that name for you in just a moment. That's Brian Robinson, one of the special team specialists here for Washington. Hate to see that. Going back to that 3rd down play, though, Stephen, on the losing side of that contest, Stephen Hacker, only that 1 target so far in the game, no catches for him.
Yeah, and it's strange, in the sense that they had such a great game through the air, through every in every area in the last game. So what happened this bye week? What changed is really the question.
Dean with a nice carry there beats Jerry D. Gond, who was trying to kind of go around the outside there. Dean bent it inside well and will pick up a nice 5 yards. And, this run game, it's been, quietly consistent. There's not many breakout runs, but there's not many losses of yardage either.
No, and that there's kind of a perfect balance between that. Obviously, we'd love to see big breakout runs as Fort Worth able to stop them behind the line of scrimmage there on that play. But if you can just get that consistent 4 to 5 yard range, you're moving the chains. But what that's also doing, and I think we're experiencing this right now, is it's winning that time of possession, right? It's making this game really feel shorter and lessening the opportunities on offense for Fort Worth.
3rd and 5. Utah fires right side. Caught Mihata wide open. Takes it down the sideline and out of bounds. Easy as you please for the tight end, who had a fantastic game last week against Sin City. Was an absolute weapon for this Trident offense, and showing off again here. You don't usually see a tight end moving that fast, Steve.
No, and I call him the offensive lineman that's faking as a tight end. Almost how big he looks out there. Like, you could put him up against the line and people would think that he was a tackle or a guard. But he moved so fast and was an absolute beast in their previous game. This is a guy that should be mentioned. I think deserves to be mentioned among the league's elite tight ends. You know, the Prococos, the Polytruce, that level of player.
Nice pickup of 2 yards for Dean, and you're right, Mihata, 6'2", 280 pounds. His mom made sure to feed him when he was a kid, but he is surprisingly fast for his build. And, you know, in the ever-shifting landscape of which tight ends are the best in the league on any given season, I think Mihata making an early claim here in season 25 that he might be one to watch, as Utah will drop back to pass here on the 2nd down, going deep, wide open. Cooper with the one-hander. The little bit of the show and flair there, and Terrell Cooper making his first impact on the game in a big way.
Yeah, the Willie Mays basket catch. This guy looks like he's got a vacuum for hands there. Utah delivers a perfect ball. And look, he had at least 2 receivers open there. He chooses the one that's further out. But look, as a quarterback, that is exactly the kind of pass that you want. You want a ball that allows your receiver not only to catch it, but doesn't stop him and allows him to keep it stride.
It's a beautiful throw there from Utah. He'll go right back to the well here on the 1st down. Left side off the shoulder pad of Alexander, who had a rough start to this one. And that one's unfortunate because it looked like the route was run very well indeed.
Yeah, that was wide open. That should have been a catch. Now we're starting to feel it now. The run game, they were so consistent with it. I think it's starting to pay off now. It's opened things up here in the passing game, and it feels like it's flowing right now. They've got the momentum.
Corner's cushion here for Fort Worth. They'll go short with it, and Sutherland will pick up a nice gain of 4 to make the 3rd down more manageable. And it feels like this offense, you know, you're right that it started out with the very short yardage focus, and now they're kind of starting to open it up and stretch this defense out a little bit more.
Knocking on the red zone here.
3rd and 6. Utah bunch to the left. They will pass. 4-man pressure. Taken down in the backfield. Tag team sack there from the defensive ends. It'll be number 92, Jeff Gagne, who gets the initial credit, but I think him and Jerry D. Gond are going to have to share that sack.
Yeah, they sandwiched him. That was an absolutely, you know, we talk about perfect play for the perfect time. They needed this, and he got absolutely crushed, one into the other. So if you're the offensive coordinator in Washington, you're cursing out both of those linemen for missing those blocks.
The Utah sandwich, not something that he would rather be a part of here. 48-yard attempt for James Troll. It's a long-distance field goal, curving right. Yes, he's got it. A good field goal there from the kicker for the Trident. It'll make it a 16-0 ball game in Washington's favor.
Yeah, some of these kicks remind me of my golf game. I've got a lot of curve. I go to the outside a lot. It just doesn't always come back in like these kicks have been coming in. Yeah, but that'll definitely be a heart stopper there on the sidelines if you're watching that curve.
I make the grass fly a lot more than the ball does usually, unfortunately. But, you know, every once in a while, someone comes along with a better shot than me. By every once in a while, I mean all the time, as Fritchie will bring that up to the 27-yard line. It's been a minute, and we hope you haven't forgotten. It's super simple to smash that like button and help the channel out. We just crossed the 8,500 subscriber mark, so subscribe if you already haven't, so you never miss a live stream, highlight, or podcast. Thank you for your support of the Virtual Football Network and the SFL. We really appreciate all you folks being here tonight. It's been awesome to see everyone in the chat, as a good run there by Jay-Z Bacon will pick up about 5, but nice to see all of the stalwarts, you know, Nacho, TJ Harper, all the guys down there in the chat as we hit the 2-minute warning here in the first half. Washington in control. And welcome back to Fort Worth. Brandon Walters alongside Stephen Mullinax in the booth. Big thank you to Mike Daggs for doing stats for us tonight, and to Cameron Irvine for producing, as always, from SFL HQ. 2nd down run by 0. Stuffed there. Diggs was holding back an offensive lineman right in the path there. Jaleel LaRue had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I guess I mean, we're going to talk about it at halftime, I'm sure, but this defense has played so well in this first half. I mean, I give them so much credit for putting their offense in, giving them more opportunities to score and holding back what was a very lethal Fort Worth offense coming into this game.
McGee took a shot there, couldn't bring in the deep ball, and that'll make it a third down here. Eric Price has really, unfortunately, not started well tonight here. He's 3 of 9 for 29 yards passing, 2 interceptions. Oh, it's actually fourth down. I have my numbers wrong here as Peaches will come back out to punt the ball away. That one taken by Koss and brought up to the 38-yard line. You've got a minute 23, Steven. Surely you're thinking you want to add a little bit more onto the board here before halftime if you're Washington.
Yeah, but you don't want to make also a critical mistake that puts or gets Fort Worth back in the game easily, like a pick six. That's something you want to totally avoid. I think Washington State continues with the game plan. They've been running the ball fairly well, but you know, they're coming out here and let's see what they do. But first things first, got to get into field goal range.
Utah's been clinical so far tonight, and Washington does have the 3 timeouts they can afford to take their time, as Dean will pick up 3 on the ground there. And we'll have to see how much clock they're willing to run out before they start to up the tempo a little bit here. But I think you might see them start moving in the no huddle here potentially on this play, or maybe call a timeout if things will go well here as they come out in a pretty heavy eye set. They'll hand off up the middle. Dean again there, shaking one and picking up another couple of yards here. And it looks like they might actually be happy to head into the locker rooms with the score as is, Stephen.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I will say that if they do decide to pass on this down, that could change things a little bit, and they may start actually seeing field goal range as a possibility.
Corners sitting back here for Fort Worth. They don't want to give up the long ball. Utah all the time in the world could write a novel back there. Going deep, flag on the play, and it's almost certainly going to be DPI deep down the field there. Big play for this Washington offense, and if you're that Fort Worth defense, you were so close to getting off the field there, and instead you make a critical mistake, and unfortunate for Ben Charbs there.
Yeah, and it's basically, I mean, they've got to make the opportunity meaningful, but it's basically giving away free points right where with that penalty. That's the worst thing that you could do with a penalty, is to give away free points there, and it feels like 20 seconds left. They may try to, they're going to try to get it closer to the end zone or into it, but you've got at least 3 points if you're Washington, if you're careful.
Robert Thump called a speculative deep shot there on the third down, just trying to see what would happen, and it's worked out for Washington. Oh, a tiptoe catch there for Alexander on the sideline. Beautiful play there to get out of bounds on the short reception.
Yeah, and you can see what the coaching staff told Utah. You know, see if there's something deep. If there isn't anything deep, go to your outlet. Let's play it safe, out of bounds, stop the clock, give us an opportunity to bring in, call another play, see if we can get something else to break open for us.
Still 25 seconds here in the half. Washington still has all 3 of their timeouts as well. 2nd and 7. Utah will throw over the middle. Quick there. Good catch for Sutherland. And that'll be the first timeout for the Trident, as they're already within the red zone here. They're going to have at least probably one shot to the end zone, you'd think.
Yeah, and this is laying out perfectly for Washington. You know, they've got plenty of time. They've still got 2 timeouts, and they're in the red zone.
Utah offset back to his left again. 3 wide receivers and Mihata on the line. 4-man rush for Fort Worth. They'll go left side. That one was double covered there. Cooper was trying to make the magic happen a second time on that streak route, but a good coverage job there by number 24 for Fort Worth. That is the corner, Adam Leach.
Well, Utah hit a receiver on a very similar play earlier in this game, so I'm not mad at the play call, and he thought he had it open again, but you ran out of room, I think, where he had a lot more on the previous play that actually completed.
Mirror of the formation here. They'll send Cooper in motion. Looks like Fort Worth might be running the zone here. 16 seconds to go in the first half. Washington looking for a big touchdown. Mihata has it at about the 4-yard line. 2nd timeout of the half called for the Trident.
Nice job by Utah. There was a defender on his back. I mean, he was about to get crushed. Got rid of the ball probably earlier than he wanted to, but able to complete that ball. And now I think they're going to try one more time to get this one in.
5 defensive linemen down and 3 linebackers lurking over the top there. You see Crackleflint leaning in there. They'll send the pressure up the middle. Gusters pushing to the 1-yard line. Final timeout called here with 8 seconds. Do you take the field goal, Stephen?
I think they do. I would like to see that fullback dive again, but I'm not sure they're going to do that.
James Troll is out on the field here. He's already made 3 field goals so far in this one. This is a chance for him to get his 4th of the game. It's going to be a chip shot, even closer than an extra point. And it is up through the uprights and good. Washington will take a 19-0 lead here right at the end of the first half. And Stephen, a big drive there for Washington to get a couple more points on the board right before halftime.
Yeah, and they were, a yard away from actually scoring another touchdown and then extending their lead even further. And let's not forget how they actually got in that position. Pass interference and a long 3rd down play. So really Fort Worth hurting themselves a lot in this game.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, if Washington has been able to punch in a couple of these red zone opportunities, they could be up potentially almost, 28-0, maybe even around 30. So
You're right.
At the same time, you kind of have to count your blessings that you're not down potentially an even greater amount here as Eric Price will come out and try and throw a Hail Mary on the last play of the half. 3 down linemen here for Washington. Price steps back, lofts it right side there. It's intercepted, his 3rd of the half. A great pick there by number 20. That's Mark Kaufman, the corner, and not too consequential in the overall scheme of things, but it's definitely going to hurt Eric Price's confidence levels, you think?
Well, it's going to hurt his numbers for sure. But if you're a quarterback in the SFL, you've got to have a short memory. Second half, being down 19 in one half means in the next half you could go up. You know what I mean? Like there's still so much of this game to play. But going into halftime, 19-0, Fort Worth has got to find something they didn't have in that first half.
Washington been distinctly dominant so far tonight in this one. Haven't allowed Fort Worth very much at all in this one here. 19-0 your score from the Stockyards right now. Stephen, what do you think is the key player right now? Who's making this happen for Washington?
Yeah, I think it's their defense, and no one in particular comes to mind. I think it's just an overall great defensive effort that has given this offense that has struggled really in this game at times. They've given them multiple opportunities to get into this game and to get in that end zone and put up what they have, 19 in this game. In fact, they made James Troll, the kicker, is the MVP here at halftime. That kind of tells you, I think, how much this defense, if I could give them the MVP, that's who I would give the MVP to in this game. Although kicking 4 field goals is nothing to snooze on, especially when you're outside and you're on the road.
That is a rarity indeed. If you're James Troll, you take a photo of that one and frame it on your wall next to your trophies that you hopefully be winning if you're a Washington fan here, as Fort Worth will get the ball first to start off the second half here. Brandon Walters alongside Stephen Mullinax in the booth with you tonight. Mike Daggs providing the stats for us. A huge thank you to him for stepping in on short notice. And Cameron Irvine, the commissioner, producing for us from SFL headquarters. And Stephen, we're back again with this offense. What do they need to change in order to get things moving?
I think it's Hacker, McGee, Garrett Jr. I think those guys got to get them involved, and you got to give them multiple targets.
Everyone with double-digit receptions on this team so far this season has none combined to start off this one. There's one for Robert Garrett Jr. who'll break a tackle and push TJ Harper towards the first down line, a pickup of 7 for the tight end. And it really does feel like it's been the passing game has been the big struggle here. That's only Eric Price's 4th completed pass of the game so far. 4!
Wow. That means 3 completions in the first half, 3 interceptions in the first half. That's not good.
That tells you about as much as you need to know why the score is the way it is, folks. If you're joining us just now, here's 0 pick up the first down. It's been a struggle for this Fort Worth team. They've held strong defensively in the red zone, but other than that, it has not been a night to remember so far for the Toros, as they'll get the first down, though, so a chance to make something happen here this drive, getting off to a brighter start than they have for most of the game so far here. And off Bacon left side with room, shakes a tackle there and pulls McNeely across the first down marker. A good run there from your running back.
Yeah, and that's one of the ways they're going to get back into this game is some individual effort, and we're seeing it here from Bacon. Next to go to the outside, breaks that tackle there, and then he takes the defender for a ride for an extra 4 or 5 yards. That's the sort of play, individual play that you're going to have to see from a lot of these Toros to get them back into this game.
Bacon 7 carries, 33 yards at the moment. It's been a bit of tough sledding so far for him, but he is averaging nearly 5 yards carry. The 0 trying to go that same left side. This time it's shut down by Nathaniel Diggs. Great play there to stop it for no gain.
Yeah, Diggs just in perfect position, and it was just a one-on-one between him and 0, and he absolutely crushes 0 on that play. And now you got to start, what you want to see really from the Toros is a sense of urgency. We need to see that from them.
2 tight ends on the line right side here for Price. They will throw over the middle, finding Robert Garrett Jr. again there, trying to take advantage of the fact that he's matched up on a linebacker there. And I mean, as good as Nicholas Warner has been in this game, you have to consider it a bit of a mismatch to put a guy like Robert Garrett Jr. on him.
Yeah, veteran in this league, and that guy, a lot of these tight ends, we talked about Mahada. I think Garrett Jr. is also in that arena there, just great security blankets for their quarterbacks. When things are all breaking down, you need a trusted player that you can go to when times are tough, and you need a big third down conversion.
First down run there for Bacon will pick up about 5. It also helps that Robert Garrett Jr. is a massive 6'7", Steven. It's a bit hard to miss him, kind of like the Empire State Building. It's hard to ignore a guy who's that big. As they'll cross the midfield stripe here, 2nd and 4 now for Price and the Toros. They'll set up 3 tight ends here on the line. A very heavy look for the Toros. They'll bring it right side. Jet 0 shakes a tackle, brought down by TJ Harper, short of the first down mark. It'll be a 3rd and 1 coming up.
Yeah, I think a favorable mark down there, and look, Fort Worth has shown that they have a proclivity to want to run the ball. So this really falls into their purview here of what they kind of like to do, and it's a matter of can Washington shut it down.
I know the folks at home can't see it, but Coach is sitting here next to me. He's got the thesaurus out. He is leafing through these pages at a rapid pace right now, folks.
It's not working. It's not working.
It is working. Bacon trying to shake and bake there, and it's an injury there for Jay-Z Bacon. That is potentially one of the worst case scenarios here for Fort Worth. That's a huge piece to lose on your offense.
Well, you just hate to see it. I mean, regardless of what advantage it might give another team or not, I think most teams agree they want to beat the best. They want the best players out there, and they don't want to give anybody any excuses. And so when you see one of the stars of this league go down, it's depressing all around.
Absolutely. I mean, hopefully he'll come back to the field like Ben Charbs did earlier on in this. A game without Jay-Z Bacon would be a worse game indeed there, as Nacho will throw the challenge flag here, and it looks like he might have gotten to that first down. Tough running. DeSantis was there with a quick tackle, so we'll have to see what the referees rule here. Play stands, so Fort Worth will lose a timeout there, and it's going to be a 4th and inches. Do you think that Fort Worth might try and go for it here, Steven?
They could also. Points are at a premium in this game, an opportunity to get 3 points on the board, although at this point in the field, I'm not sure it's even a guarantee. So yeah, they're going for it. Look at that.
They are going to go for it here. 4th and inches. Price under center. It's going to be 0 in the backfield. They've got an offensive lineman there playing the fullback.
Panda.
They'll hand it off right side. 0 picks it up easily enough. Good run there on the 4th and inches, and that could be a big momentum play here, Steven.
Yeah, absolutely. If they're able to put 7 on the board because of it, I mean, that's huge in a game where, again, points are at a premium, especially for a team that didn't score in the first half.
Price looking to put his team right back in this one. He's going to go deep over the middle there. Henry McGee with his first catch of the game will bring it right to about the 4-yard line. A big catch there for the speedster.
Yeah, McGee, a really big part of the blowout they had against Oklahoma City. Had a punt return for a touchdown, had a catch, several catches, one for a touchdown as well. So this is a guy we all know about him coming out of the draft. One of the fastest players ever to come out of our draft. One of the more highly touted players, and starting to really show out here for this Toro squad.
That was his teammate in Chicago in that minor league season. We went undefeated and won that championship. He was a burner over the top, that's for sure. Zero will get the handoff on the first and goal there. Shaken towards the left side there. Stiff arm, not needed. Jet Zero beats him to the pylon. Touchdown, Toros. And they will make it a 19-7 game here, and it feels like they're right back in it.
Well, Jet Zero's been a great running back in this league for a very long time. So when you lose a guy like J.Z. Bacon, somebody has to step up. Why not the wily veteran, right? He knows that the onus of the rushing game is now in his back pocket, and he's got to do whatever he can to try to get this team some points. Able to go off to the left-hand side, ignore some of the traffic to his right, and get in the end zone just barely, but he got in.
Hey, just barely still counts, Steven.
Still counts, yeah.
Peach is ready to knock through the extra point, and she will. 19-7 ball game here in Fort Worth. Feels like they might be on the charge. You're watching the Simulation Football League action here on the Virtual Football Network. This week on the VFN, SFL Week 6 is on tonight, and the UFL's final 2 weeks of the regular season continues Monday and Thursday. No other network gives you more football. The SFL lives on the Virtual Football Network, as the kickoff will be fielded at about the 10-yard line. A bit of a short one there for Kaufman, and he'll pick it up and bring it to about the 31-yard line. And we get to see this Washington offense, which has been, on the whole, better so far tonight, Steven. But I think you're going to have to see a little bit more of that running game. They're going to try and potentially drain some of that clock.
Yeah, and running got a little bit tougher and tougher for them as we saw it, the first half progress. Initially on that first series, Washington looked like they couldn't be stopped. Inside, outside, didn't matter. Then Fort Worth's defense started to clamp down. And we talk about what a great response Fort Worth had coming out of halftime to go all the way down the field and get into the end zone. So now they're back on their heels watching a little bit. They still have the lead. They still have a little bit of that momentum, but can they carry it?
Draw play there. Dean will pick up 3. And your point about momentum, it feels like, Washington had so much of that momentum throughout the first half especially, and now it feels like it's a bit more of an even contest. You'll have to see how this Washington offense and the coaching staff wants to respond in terms of being able to hit back here on 2nd and 7. They'll set up in the doubles look, pitch left side. There's Salmons, who can only pick up about 1.5 yards, maybe 2, and make it a 3rd and 5. And Dwayne Salmon's not had very much easy sledding so far tonight, Steven.
Yeah, and that's give Fort Worth a lot of credit for that, but also Washington struggled to try and get him involved. We talked about that early, right? Christopher Dean, seen a lot of him, not so much Salmons, and I think they're just still struggling to find the right game plan kind of for him to take advantage of. He's a very skilled player, so we know that he has skills to take advantage of.
Both running backs under 3 yards a carry so far in this one. Utah with all kinds of time. Batted down at the line. Great play there on the line. That's 94. Hendrick Callahan with the big hand.
And now Fort Worth's defense steps up, probably feeling that momentum from the offense coming out at halftime and scoring. Now their defense steps up with a big quality 3rd down stop, giving their offense yet another opportunity to close this lead.
Utrecht Rugen here to punt the ball away. Good blocking there from Fort Worth means it'll be a free return here for McGee. He's got all kinds of room. Unable to make too much out of it, but he will bring it up to about the 30-yard line. And Fort Worth now gets to come back out here, and Eric Price, gets a chance to really right some of the wrongs in that first half. And, if they score a touchdown here, you're right back to a 1-possession ball game, and that would really make this a more exciting finish, I think. Both of these teams have played tight games in the past. Last season, both of their games, the one in the regular season and the playoffs, were decided by margins of 2 and 3 points, respectively. So we know these teams have a close game in them. Tight end in motion, left side. 1st and 10. They'll hand off right side there. Take a big shot there from TJ Harper. That's number 34 for the Toros, the backup for J.Z. Bacon. That's Lamar Gordon with the carry.
Yeah, and I think I think they're gonna impact their game plan here. They love to run with both backs, and you've got Jet Zero, but now you've got to replace Bacon.
Throwing there, Price with room. Hacker gets his first catch of the game, and a big 1st down there for the Toros wide receiver. And Price, it feels like, is really starting to warm up and find those connections with his big top wide receivers.
And I think this injury just changes things a bit for Fort Worth. Like, I think they're now going to be a little bit more prone to throw the ball and maybe rely on some of the guys we talked about. McGee and Garrett Jr., they focused on a lot in the last series to get them in the end zone.
Here's Gordon again up the middle there, drags Hacker forward for a gain of 6. Don't see that too often from the greatness himself there, getting bowled over by a bench running back. But maybe that just speaks to the level of momentum right now that Fort Worth has.
Yeah, and get 6 yards from a guy right off the bench, practically off the streets. It's a big win for you.
Jet Zero following Emilia Panda in that fullback spot there. That's got to be a terrifying sight for this defense. 3rd and 1 now for Fort Worth.
And I like the extra little jump there at the end by Jet Zero, just getting that extra yard, get them just that much closer to the first down marker. And again, we've got Gordon in the backfield.
I say, look at Panda back there, though. He's massive. It's got to be terrifying there as Gordon pushed back there. The tag team tackle came up clutch. It was Diggs who got the first hit there, but I believe that the major share of the credit there should probably go to, I think that was John DeSantis, the corner.
Yeah, and I think Panda kind of just missed his block there. So for as big as he was, I think he got more in the way than making that block.
Second time trying to convert on the 4th down. Zero might have had it. Well, progress marks. I think they gave it to him. Nathaniel Diggs met him in the hole there pretty early. They will give him the first down. We'll have to see if a challenge flag comes out from Robert Thump there. It looked like very tight margins indeed, but no challenge. Fort Worth will retain possession of the football there. Another 4th down conversion for this Toros team.
And a very close one too. I thought my initial view of it was he didn't make it, but he was close.
Oh, intercepted right over the middle. Given back the 4th interception of the game for Washington's defense. That's Maxwell Quimby's first pick of the night here. And right as the momentum felt like it was reaching fever pitch here in the stockyards, all of a sudden it's dead silent, quiet as a church.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everything was flowing their way. That's kind of the one thing you just couldn't allow to happen. But again, I think this stems back to the Bacon absence, right? I just think you're not as effective, obviously, when one of your star players gets hurt, and maybe you're pressed into something that forces or helps to force that turnover.
And off here for Dean and Washington on first down. He'll pick up 4 on that right side there. And I agree with you. I think it really felt like in both ways, good and bad, it felt like the injury to Bacon has kind of thrown off the game plan for this offense. They're not operating in the same way that we saw them operate earlier. And unfortunately, it looks like it might have potentially led to the 4th interception for Price now. And, you know, coming into the game with only 2 interceptions, now he's got 6 on the season. As he'll hand off Sammons again, not any room for him there. Grackleflint chases him down and makes sure that he gets no yards.
And this Toro defense, again, shutting down the run that we saw that was so successful, led them to get that touchdown that we talked about earlier through that fullback dive. Clamping down here and another opportunity for a 3 and out.
Bunch set right side for Utah, making a change at the line. 3rd and 7, crowd loud here in the stockyards. Throwing over the middle, intercepted! Delaney Nash, the former MVP with the interception, brought down by the face mask as well. So that'll tack some yards onto the return there. But, you know, feels like a bit of hot potato here, Steven. Neither of these teams really wants to keep the ball right now.
Yeah, and I think tremendous plays by the defenses. I mean, doing a great job of not only stopping these drives, halting this run game, but also coming away with these interceptions. I'm not exactly sure what the whole face mask penalty thing is after interceptions, why that's happening, but it is.
We're getting a little bit frisky out there, pulling guys down by the face mask. Gordon gets nothing there. And, you know, Steven, to bring it back, Tommy Utah, his struggles continue in terms of turnovers. His 8th interception on the season so far.
Yeah, just, you know, not just about finding that rhythm and then finding the game plan that, you know, helps benefit him the most.
Oh, that one popped out of the hands of Jones there. Big hit on the coverage there for Washington. And 3rd down and 10 immediately here for Eric Price. His back's up against the wall.
Brandon, it kind of feels like preseason football at this point. I'm not sure what's going on, but It doesn't, it feels like there's a bunch of future bankers and insurance salesmen out there, not necessarily professional football players at times.
Ouch. You heard it here first, folks. Coach is not impressed as they'll send McGee in motion out of the bunch. 3rd down and 10. Price will roll left. Time looking back right side there. Off the hands of Henry McGee and drops to the turf incomplete. He'll slap the ground, and I think he's right to be frustrated with himself, Steven. That was a gimme for someone like Henry McGee.
Yeah, that's frustrating in the sense that everything seems you have the right call. You have to get you to convert that 1st down. You have an open player, relatively open. The ball hits him. He should be able to make that catch, and it just for one reason or another just doesn't happen.
I mean, that's SFL open, that's for sure, Steven. You got to be able to make that catch in this league here as Koss will take the punt to the 27-yard line. And I think, do you think we might see an adjustment here from Washington? You throw that interception. Do you think they might be a bit more cautious with the ball?
I don't think so. I think they still have their approach. I think they're still going to try to run the ball, and they'll pass it when they need to. Let's not forget that despite Fort Worth showing signs here in the second half, they were all but dead in the first, and Washington had all that momentum, so I don't think they changed anything.
Draw play here again. Dean will pick up 4, and a good run there for Dean as we get a score update here from the other game in the block. Pittsburgh leads the Oklahoma City Renegades 28-3 at the half. And Oklahoma City lost Brady Clark on the first play of the game as we hit the end of the 3rd quarter here in Fort Worth. We'll be right back with you for the final frame. Get your 4s up in the chat, folks. And welcome back to the Stockyards here in Fort Worth, Texas. Brandon Walters alongside Stephen Mullinax in the booth with you tonight. Mike Daggs doing the stats for us in the stats truck, working like a Hercules regen out here. He's doing the work of 2 men. And Cameron Irvine producing for us, as always, is Dean. Will pick up another 3 or 4 and set up a 3rd and 3.
I can say that Dean has been consistent. He's shown to be very powerful, big frame, big guy. That he feels like he could fall over and get 3 yards. And that's sometimes what you just love about your running back.
Consistent yards is probably the greatest hallmark of a good running back. As Salmon's buried by Grackle Flint, only gets 1 yard. Big tackle there by the Toros linebacker, and it's another 4th down here for Washington. Fort Worth's going to get another early opportunity here to bring this game back within reach.
Yeah, just a nice job there by Fort Worth's defense. They continue to step up here in the second half, and as for Washington, I think that was just like Salmons is a great runner. And they're still trying to find ways to utilize him, but he needs good blocking too, and that was just poor blocking, I think.
McGee stuffed at the 28-yard line on the punt return here, and Eric Price will come back out here again and try and lead this offense to more success than they've had so far tonight. And it really feels like it's been a game where both defenses have just been on it tonight. 5 turnovers between these 2 teams.
You're absolutely right.
Adjustment here from the defense, pinching inwards. Price will hand it off on the 1st down. Gordon pushing forward and picking up 4. And honestly, surprised to not see a bit more of Jet Zero here. I mean, Lamar Gordon's going to have to come in and spell Jay-Z Bacon while he's out with an injury. But I'm surprised that we haven't seen more of Jet Zero.
Yeah, and it's not so much an adjustment in the game plan. It's just the game plan just instead of Bacon, they put in Gordon, so he's getting Bacon's carries.
Pitch to the right side here, 4-0, and that one not really had much of a chance there. Warner, alongside a bunch of his fellow defenders there, was the first one to the ball. 3rd and 4 now for the Toros.
Yeah, now here we are on this critical. I think every 3rd down is going to be critical from here on out. We got to find that urgency here, I think.
Price dropping back, has time, looking right side there. Robert Garrett Jr. got buried in the turf there like Jimmy Hoffa, and it's going to be a 4th down for this Toros team again, and they're going to have to punt it back to Washington.
As an offensive coordinator, it just hurts my heart when I see those plays where the ball is right there and an opportunity for the receiver to come down with it. But I don't want to take anything away from this Washington defense. They're playing really great. Both of these defenses, we've given their flowers over and over again in this game. But I think you can feel the frustration, especially from look at the numbers here on the screen. Total yards in the second half. It's only 16 from Washington, as opposed to 111 from Fort Worth. And based on just what you just saw, you'd almost think sometimes it's flipped. It could easily be flipped the way these teams are playing here. So it's a struggle to get anything going if you're on either one of these offenses, and we got to give a lot of credit to the defenses.
Both teams playing well on the defensive side of things. Dean will pick up 6. And I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. Consistency really feels like the watchword for this running game. At least when Dean's on the field, it feels like Salmons has not had the same rub of the green.
And Mr. Mike Daggs there in our stat truck just let me know 0 completion for Washington in the second half. So it gives you an idea of what kind of game we've seen from this offense in the second half.
And off to Gusters there. He'll pick up an easy first down from the fullback position. Gotta love those offset eye runs with the fullback there. It just sets up so well, doesn't it, Steven?
It does, and Gusters looks like the prototypical fullback. If you would imagine a fullback in your mind, a big guy that spends way too much time in the gym, that absolutely like Gusters, man. Feels like he spends all day in the gym. He's a big guy.
I'll tell you not to call him out, but Aaron Alexander on the other side does not look like your typical fullback. Mihata in the air. Great catch from the tight end there. He's got hops for a big guy.
Yeah, I expected to call his name a lot more in this ball game, but Hakuna Mahata, as I like to call him there, just makes everything smooth and cool. I love this guy. I don't know if that comes across enough or not. I just absolutely love what he brings to the table. And again, I think he's got to be considered one of those top tight ends in the league. We need to be talking about him more.
Dean up the middle there. Not much purchase that time. Only pick up 2. I like the Lion King reference. I think Lions probably do beat Bulls most of the time, at least. So it definitely fits the theme that we've seen so far here tonight. 2nd and 8 now. And, Washington getting in position to score potentially again here. And if they could, it might be the one of the final nails in the coffin here for Fort Worth. All out blitz there, brought, and Koss is going to walk it in the end zone. There'll be a roughing the passer penalty, but that won't end up mattering, and Utah manages to chalk up a touchdown here for the Trident.
Yeah, just a tough play call there if you're Fort Worth to bring in that all blitz at the moment they brought that in. Typically, we see these kind of touchdowns that come off that, and that's the last thing that the Toros wanted. The crowd is telling you right now, this stinks. They hate this, and it's just the highs of highs and lows of lows for these Toro fans. I mean, it was an all-out Toro celebration in the last game before the bye week with that 60-plus game. And now they're coming in here, and their offense doesn't look 1/10 of what they were against Oklahoma City. And you can go ahead and say, well, level of competition, got to consider that. And they've struggled with the first two losses this season. They've looked kind of like this, but they seem to have figured things out. The Toros fans thought they had figured things out, and clearly now, as we go into the second half here of the fourth quarter, down 26-7, there's still things that are just troubling, despite the get-right game and despite the bye week to try and fix some things.
Well, as my grandma used to tell me, Steven, behind every mountain is a valley. As the kick brought out to the 24-yard line by Fritchie, and we'll have to see if Eric Price can conjure up some magic here and get this game back within some kind of reach here. Down by 19 now at this point for Fort Worth. So that's a 3-score game now, and that means that if Fort Worth does want to have a good shot at getting back into this game, they're going to have to move very quickly here.
You're right.
Split back set here. I think that's the first time we've seen that tonight, as Aaron Alexander put down in the backfield there by Nathaniel Diggs. And Aaron Alexander, he really doesn't look like the typical fullback. He's very light.
Yeah, but sometimes those little guys, they can pack a punch. You know what I mean? They got that inner core. I've seen that before.
It says he's 260 pounds on our sheet here. That must all be in his shoes or something there, as the dump off screen to Garrett Jr. They'll give him the first down there. Not sure if he stepped out of bounds beforehand or not, but they will get the first down for the time being. And that's just a kind of nice play there for Fort Worth. Give your quarterback a bit more confidence and make sure that your guys are feeling good here, trying to extend the passing game a little bit more.
I think he did step out of bounds a little bit earlier than they marked it, but at this point, I think Washington's content with just hanging on to the red hanky there and just allowing that to go. But we've seen that play before here, and it worked just as well.
Price over the top there was looking for McGee, and I think it was just a little bit too far in front of his speedster wide receiver there. Unfortunate, because it looked like he had the burners on there and clean tarmac in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. The Price just rocket launched that, and just a little bit of missed timing between him and the receiver there. I mean, McGee's fast. I'm not sure he's that fast.
We would have to get to some Usain Bolt speeds to be able to get to that one in time, as Gordon will take a 2-yard carry up the middle there, stuffed by Diggs. Time ticking down towards the 5-minute mark in this fourth quarter here, and it feels like Fort Worth still not trying to get away from their game plan. You know, they want to keep the run involved.
Yeah, and then again, I think it goes back now with, without Bacon, they're just not as efficient as they probably would be if he was in there.
Roll left side there. Price looking back right side, finds McGee over the middle of the. That's a nicely completed pass there. They'll run in a hurry up here. This is an early hurry up, but it fits the situation for Fort Worth. Going short on the right side there. There's McGee. Has a chance to use those burners and picks up a first down. Steps out of bounds to stop the clock as well.
Yeah, I love that play, going on to the strong side of the bunch route there. And it almost works at a little bit of a wide receiver screen or a little bit of a rub route there that allows, despite there being 3 defenders, they get all caught up on the blocking receiver, and gives McGee an opportunity to get outside, get a little extra yardage, out of bounds to stop the clock. They were in the no huddle, so now this stoppage of time allows them to maybe get a new set of plays in for the next no huddle run.
Yeah, great selfless play there from Hunter Jacobs, number 15, that wide receiver there, holding up 3 Trident defenders to let Henry McGee get that edge. Great play there from a young wide receiver here, as Price will step back and find Garrett Jr. over the middle for 5. They'll stay in the hurry up here. Triple formation called now for Fort Worth. Over the middle there, that one tipped in a dangerous position there. It was Warner who broke the pass up.
Yeah, just a little bit of a dig route there just to try to get past the first down marker. They're not so much focusing on trying to get the ball down the field, but just to continue to move the change and build on this positive momentum.
Price stepping back to throw over the middle of the field. Garrett Jr. again, the recipient there, but he's short of the first down marker, and 4th and 1 coming up here. And you'd have to expect Fort Worth will go for it for the 3rd time tonight, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely, but they're taking their time a little bit. Not a no-huddle offense here. They want to get the play that they want here.
They'll throw it on the 4th down, and he's buried in the backfield. The pressure got home finally. The second time tonight that Price has gone down, and it's a big sack there by number 95, King McNeely, for the Trident.
Yeah, coming off the edge. It's a 4th. That's a bit, the game is where it's at on the score-wise, but just a big 4th down, and then you can feel that momentum from the defense. They wanted to make a big play and wanted to make a point. They have made that point all game long. They have played so well in this game. Washington's defense, absolutely, for me, the MVP of the game so far. And they just show you one more reason to give them that vote.
Offensive lineman, that's Charles Michael there in motion outside there, as they'll hand it off to Gusters for a gain of 2 with 4 minutes left to go in this one. I agree. I mean, the defense for both teams, honestly, the defense has been great. It's just that it feels like, Washington's definitely gotten the luck when it comes to getting the turnovers, which are so key in terms of being able to swing games like this, where it's kind of a tight contest.
And it felt like Washington's defense they held the offense up until they could get going. They just took a little while for them to get going. But once they did, all the defense did was complement them perfectly and give them so many solid opportunities to put points on the board. And that's and opposite of that, Fort Worth, I think Fort Worth's defense really did step up here in the second half, but the offense, I think there's too many mistakes for Fort Worth, and they've got to clean those up. And they need to find that same identity that they had against Oklahoma City. They need to find some of that juice, and they just didn't have it tonight.
3rd and 3 now for Washington. If they get the first down here, you're almost certainly going to see this be one of the final drives of the game here. They'll be able to run out a lot of clock as they'll hand it off left side. Salmons gets nothing there. Brought down again by Jason Grackleflint, who's been in the backfield. Specifically, it feels like when Salmons is the ball carrier there, he's been absolutely on him so far tonight. And 4th down and 4, Rugen will have to punt it back, and Fort Worth will probably get one more chance here to add some points on the board.
Yeah, giving them an opportunity to maybe try to figure some things out, something positive they can carry to the next game, something that may help them game plan for the next game, something they can build upon.
Rugen with a high hanging punt there. It's fair caught by McGee at the 20-yard line. So it'll be a 90-yard. It'll be an 80-yard drive to the end zone if Eric Price wants to get another touchdown on the board here. Looking forward a little bit, Stephen, both of these teams have kind of had a tough early start to the season here. Washington gets to go into a bye week after this game, and then they'll face the Denver Night Wings coming out of that bye week. And I feel like, coming off of this kind of game with this kind of momentum as Hacker gets his second catch of the game, it feels like that should be a very interesting matchup to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. The defensive, touted Denver team, it's always going to be tough to face. And look, if you're Washington, I think, you're coming off a 3-game skid. To get this win on the road against Fort Worth gives you a lot of confidence, right? So that's just something that you kind of build upon in the bye week. And I think they have a lot of positive things they can build upon from this game. So I think it'll be a great matchup, Denver and Washington.
2nd and 10 now. Price rolling left out of the split set over the middle of the field, finds McGee for a nice completion. The hurry up has gone away here, probably because it's the 2-minute warning. So we will be right back with you in just a moment here as they'll show us a replay. 168 yards for Eric Price, 4 interceptions, no touchdowns. Been a tough day at the office for him. We'll be right back with you with the final minutes of this one. And welcome back to the Stockyards. Brandon Walters alongside Stephen Mullinax to see out the end of this one here. Mike Daggs doing stats for us. Thank you very much, Mike. And Cameron Irvine producing, as always, from SFL headquarters as Hacker moves in motion left side. 1st and 10 on Washington's side of the field here. Chance to add some more points. That'll be PI on Nicholas Warner there and give him a free 1st down.
Brendan, I can't tell you how many times, and you're probably in the same situation where you found yourself in the situation that Fort Worth was in, and then they kind of like open up the water, the hose a bit, and with 2 minutes left to go in a kind of the garbage time of a game, and then you start seeing things from the offense you'd wish you'd seen the whole time. You know what I mean? It's been a trickle, right? It's been like a trickle out of a hose for so long for this offense, and suddenly it's a giant waterfall gushing everywhere, and you're like, where was this the entire game?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, Steven. It happened last night for us against Chicago. We saw things in the final frame there with the Detroit. Oh, King McNeely, his 2nd sack of the game, and Detroit's 3rd there as Fort Worth will call their 2nd timeout of the game here. Looking forward for Fort Worth now, talk about a murderer's row, Steven. Their next 3 games before their Week 10 bye. Home against Detroit, and then away against Minnesota and Vancouver.
Woo. Yeah, it didn't get any easier, right? It's going to be an uphill battle,
Good catch there for number 15. That's Jacobs there. I think that's his 2nd or 3rd one of the game there. Final timeout called by Fort Worth, and we will see if Price can get just a little bit further forward here and try and score a. Some more points on the board. You got to try and get a little bit of pride back in this one. Quads look, Price looking right there, in and out of the hand of Stephen Hacker.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours, right, Brendan? I mean, goodness gracious, this we've seen a lot of those kind of passes tonight in this game. We try to open up the flood works here, and just nothing comes out. It's crazy, and. I think they're going to be kicking themselves when we watch this film and rewatch it, and probably need a hot shower or two afterwards, right? Just try to get their head right. But these drop passes, man, they've got to figure out a way to catch these balls.
Henry McGee gets the pass. 1st down for Fort Worth at the 25-yard line. 1:35 left in this game. Oh, man. Eric Price incomplete on the 1st down. Stephen Hacker unable to be found. And really, that's been the story of the game so far. Stephen Hacker has been, plugging away in this one. He's only got 2 catches for his efforts on 7 targets, 31 yards total for the number 1 wide receiver here for Fort Worth.
Well, they're definitely extending this game. I mean, you can feel that, right, Brendan? I mean, they're not letting anything leak through. I mean, it's just this game, but they're just kind of extending it and, extending. Maybe they're paying a bit, but they need to try and do something here positive for the fan base.
Price trying to find Hacker again, incomplete. That's Nathaniel Diggs there. Whenever you can get a linebacker, a wide receiver, it's going to be tough to find that kind of opening there because you got all the zones there. They're so congested. They're able to, just really make sure that there's no passing lanes open for a guy like Eric Price, who struggled so much in this one to be able to find those open lanes and get the ball around this Washington defense. McGee with the catch there, brought down within the 5-yard line to about the 2 with 1:20 left to go here. There's a chance still. I mean, the corners are so far off here. There's a chance that they could score it. Intercepted in the end zone. The 5th pick tonight for Eric Price. It's certainly not a stat line he's going to want to look back on, but a good interception there. That's number 24. Albert Begins, 2nd of the game, Stephen.
Well, you could feel it, man. The Toros were just letting it flow, right? I mean, it was just going exactly the way they probably wanted it to, that flow that they wanted throughout through this game. And they had it. I know it's garbage time and they're just trying to put things together, but man, for this defense to put a final nail in the coffin and give us all a little bit of relief, I guess, is I think, again, another statement towards why this defense played so well tonight. Even though they didn't break, like a dam breaking. They just didn't let that water through.
Kneel down's taken by Tommy Utah here to run out the final minute of this one here. It's been a good game all around. Washington will move up to 2-3 in the competitive Western Division. They're still hunting down Vancouver and Arizona ahead of them, but they will stay in 3rd place tonight. Meanwhile, Fort Worth dropping to 1-3. That'll put them towards the bottom of a very competitive Southern Division. If I can find my standings here, I can. There they are. They are currently 4th, and they'll stay 4th because Bossier City lost tonight earlier against Mexico City. I was there for that game.
Nice.
But unfortunately for them, they will not get to move any further up the standings, though. Houston still in touching distance up at the top of that table alongside Mexico City, so a chance that they still can rebound and potentially challenge for the South Division crown here. But the final play of this game has just been played, and we are going to head out of here. A 26-7 win for the Washington Trident over the Fort Worth Toros here in the Stockyards. A good game overall. There was plenty of excitement and entertainment. Stephen, your final thoughts on the game, and if you could give me a player of the game, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got so much to say. I may take just the next 30 minutes just to talk about what a great game this was for Washington. I mean, they kind of put it all together. Their defense really, I think that was the key to their winning in this game. Their defense did just a great job of not only getting the quarterback to throw so many interceptions, they put him under pressure. They've got those sacks, right? They had to put their offense in great position to score and really gave their offense the kickstart they needed to score 26 in this game, the most they've scored all season, right? So if you're Washington and you're going into a bye week before a big game against Denver, you've got a lot to build on. If you're Fort Worth, man, I think this is an identity kind of situation. You got to find it. Like, what are you as a team? Where's your focus been? Now, let's give them a lot of credit. They did have a star running back go down, and that, I think, really hurt them in what was looking like a comeback in the second half. It really shut it down. But still, you got to play the team that's on the field, and you got to play with the players that you have, and they just didn't look at tonight. So, Fort Worth's got a lot to figure out, and they got little time to do it, as you mentioned, as they've got a murderer's row of teams coming up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. My player of the game's got to go to Albert Begin there. Two interceptions. SFL Week 7 will kick off Friday. SFL Week 7 will kick off Friday night with the Mount Wilson SFL kickoff show, followed by 4 electric matchups. Vancouver at Houston, Bossier City at Arizona, Carolina at Queen City, and Sin City at LA. Action starts at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. The SFL lives on the Virtual Football Network. For my partner, Stephen Molinax, for Mike Daggs and Cameron Irvine, I'm Brandon Walters saying so long, folks, and have a good Sunday night.